As now we're going to turn to the other special section we have in the Musaf Amidah, and that is the Eleh Ezkera. It is the section of the service that came into the Machzor around the Middle Ages. It's a way to remember the martyrs of our people, those who have died for our tradition and for our people, and it's a way in which we can honor them and remember them today. On page 337, we will begin by singing those words at the top of the page, Eleh Ezkera, that will kind of be a refrain over the course of the service as we share different stories and memories from our history over the course of the next few minutes. Top of page 337, Eleh Ezkera.
Ezkera v'nafshi alai yeshpecha al koroteinu hamarot einai zogot dim'ah.
We begin with private reading as we read the martyrdom that took place throughout the generations, throughout Jewish history. There's readings from pages 337 through 340, Aleph through Gimel. I'll invite everyone to select a reading to reflect on at this time, either from the Rabbinic Martyrs, the First Crusade, or on page 339, if I can turn the page. Well, whatever is reflected on page 339, you can read about that as well. We'll take a few minutes for private reading. Eleh Ezkera.
Eleh Ezkera v'nafshi alai yeshpecha al koroteinu hamarot einai zogot dim'ah.
Now we'll have an opportunity, as we've done over the last few years, to hear stories shared by children and grandchildren of Holocaust survivors in our community. And this afternoon, we have the privilege of hearing from Harris J. and Lisa Kessler, who are going to be sharing the story of their grandmother, their maternal grandmother, Dora Langzam. They are third-generation survivors. We're honored to share the bima with them this afternoon as they share her story.
As third-generation Holocaust survivors, we are honored to share our family story with you and to remember the 6 million who did not survive. Our Baba is Dora Langzam, and her story is one of many incredible stories of survival. Many years ago, when Harris and I were students in TVS Religious School, Baba began sharing her story with our Hebrew school classes. These were among the first times that she talked about her experiences. Through her sharing testimony with the Shoah Foundation and the Holocaust Museum in DC, she instilled in us the power of telling stories and the responsibility to never forget, which we have passed down to our children. Our mother, Nina J., has dedicated herself to documenting and learning as much as possible and ensuring that others will still keep learning stories of survivors. She connected with Dr. Leah Grisham, who's been writing a book, The World Has Caught Fire, Life and Death in Holocaust-Era Poland. Leah gave us permission to share an excerpt from her book with you all today. And this passage is about Dora and her sister Sala in Auschwitz-Birkenau in August of 1944. And here is the story. Another morning, another roll call. Each morning, and then again in the afternoon, Dora, her sister Sala, and the rest of the women who survived the transport from Lodz stood for hours in the shadows of the chimneys. This morning, though, something felt different, off. Looking past the endless rows of haggard women and girls, she scanned the area. Nothing looked too out of the ordinary, but after 5 years in Nazi captivity, Dora trusted her gut. Something bad was brewing. Dora's train of thought was disrupted by the screech of tires and the thrum of engines. The beast had arrived. Always one to flaunt her power, the beast, as the prisoners called the high-ranking SS guard, who was their chief torturer, was chauffeured into their block in a shiny black car. Dora's blood ran cold when she saw the convoy of open-air trucks trailing in their wake. "It's your lucky day, my little birdies," the beast chirped with a sneer as she exited the vehicle. "Some of you are going to get milk and a little rest." Despite the beast's heavily accented German, Dora could read between the lines. None of those selected would be getting milk. Without further prelude, the beast began marching through the columns of scared women. You, she'd mutter every so often. With a casual flick of her wrist, the women she singled out were condemned to death. Dora began to sweat as the beast and her entourage moved closer to Sala. Sala looked so young, so weak, Dora thought with a shudder. Her stomach roiled as the scent of the beast's expensive French perfume wafted her way. She was close. "You," she heard the beast say. Dora's whole body froze. She wasn't sure if her heart was even beating. Surely she didn't mean. The low shriek that emanated from Sala told Dora all she needed to know. As soon as the heavy boots passed her without comment, Dora's attention snapped to her sister. "Dora, they're going to burn me. Do something," she practically hissed, her voice dripping in panic. One of the guards grabbed Sala's arm and began to lead her away toward the vans. "Dorka, help me!" Sala screamed louder. "Go get her," she heard the girl next to her whisper. "They're going to kill her. Do you hear me? Go get Sala now." She nudged Dora. Without thinking, she bolted from her space in line and ran over to where Sala stood crying. Clasping hands, the sisters sprinted back to their places in line. The distance looked immense, but the sisters never slowed down. Yard by yard, the distance shrank until they were in the clear. Almost there. They were so close when Dora held the beast yell. One ran away.
"I want whoever was selected to get back over there now," a bored-looking guard gestured toward the van. "I'm going to count to 5, he bellowed, spittle flying past his dry lips, "and then start shooting. 1. Dora could sense the women around her were starting to squirm, and knew that if she didn't give up Sala, one of the other prisoners would. Not that she blamed them, of course. When a Nazi stuck a gun in your face and threatened to pull the trigger, they typically got results. 2. A warning shot went off in the air. The guard opened his mouth, no doubt to yell 3, but the sound was drowned out by the ear-piercing shriek of air raid sirens. The camp broke out in pandemonium. Guards were screaming and yelling, pushing the women who had been selected into the trucks. Others took off, running to save their own skins. The beast, however, continued her beeline in their direction. Dora yanked Sala away from the spot where she'd seemingly taken root and pulled them both along with the current of prisoners running toward the trains that had been idling nearby. Dora didn't care where they were headed, as long as they took her away from the beast. Little one, come here." The beast's words were sweet, but her tone was murderous. Summoning all of her strength, Dora grabbed Sala in a bear hug and lifted her off her feet, practically tossing her into the train car before hurling herself in after. Any moment now, she thought, as she panted on the floor of the car, bracing herself to hear the crack of a gunshot, or maybe even to feel the beast's arms wrap around her and lift her out. For a moment, nothing happened. And then something did happen, something that Dora didn't expect. Someone slammed the door of the train car shut, and it began to move. Thud, thud, thud went the familiar sound underneath the carriage, slowly at first, but then faster over time. A minute passed, then another. A strange feeling washed over Dora, relief. "Dorca, you saved me," Sala cried, throwing her arms around Dora. The sisters sobbed. They had no idea where they were headed. Could it be worse than the hell they just left? Dora didn't know. For now, she was going to take comfort in her beloved sister's arms. Without Dora's courage, we would not be standing here today and telling you this story. Dora and her sister Sala were the only two members of their family to survive. Though Dora's faith was tested in unimaginable ways, she remained deeply connected to God after the war. In her heavily accented English, she would often say, "I am the winner," and she would list how many children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren she had. She would tell us all that we were miracles. We feel the responsibility to keep telling her story, and we thank you for the chance to do so today. Eleh, Ezkera.